Hello, Big Bear here. Today we're just doing a Q&A. You asked on my Instagram the other day to send me any questions over and I'll answer them on here. I've got about 15 to 20 I think. Have a look. So, the first one's nice and easy one. Favourite cheat meal? Pizza, more pizza. Yeah, that's all I can say on that. Pepperoni pizza, can't beat it. Number 2 is daily foods. Normally I wake up and I have a bowl of porridge with a pint of milk, and then probably mid-morning time, maybe 10:30ish, I have either a couple of packs of Fridge Raiders, some chicken, along with a couple of rice cakes, just to add a bit of calories in. And then around lunchtime, probably about 12 o'clock-ish, I normally have, say at the moment, I'm normally quite boring, say for rice and tuna or some egg noodles and tuna, just anything with tuna really, just to make sure I'm getting that protein in and some carbs as well, obviously. If I'm still hungry after that, I can sometimes have a few Frube yogurts, and then before training about 4:45ish, I have a protein shake before, and then I use milk as well for more calories instead of water. I can't drink it with just water, it's rank. And then obviously I train, come back, have another protein, well I have half a protein shake, and then I have my tea. That all depends what the chef cooks, misses obviously. And then before bed I have the rest of my protein shake. I normally have half and half because I don't want to get back from the gym and then be full up if I have a full shake, because the shakes I have are about 12,000 calories, plus the milks are maybe 1,500 calories a shake. So I don't want to have too much and not enjoy my tea, because protein shake should just be something on the side. You want to get all your protein in your actual foods, your proper foods, your meats and stuff like that, instead of having your protein shakes. They're more of a substitute. So yeah, I have half before my tea, then I have my tea, and then I'll have the shake before bed, probably around 9:30, 10:ish. It's only half a shake, and yeah, that's about it for a full day. Odd times, I mean, before gym, I forgot to mention, I have an energy drink, sugar-free energy drink before the gym, and then normally as well, I'll have a little chocolate bar, a few sugars, a tiny bit more energy before my session, and that's about it in a normal day. I can't wheel off what I have for my lunch, for my tea, because every night's different surprise with that. So sometimes it could be pasta and chicken or fajitas, loads of different stuff. She's a brilliant cook. The next one is calorie intake. So I don't really count my calories anymore. You get to a point where when you're training consistently and you're doing the diet part of it, you get used to what you eat and you know what sort of in them there or thereabouts. I used to track them. I track them before a comp, probably 5 months before a competition. I start tracking my calories, or 5 to 3 months before my competition, making sure I'm hitting at least 4 to 4,500. Obviously, some people say, "Oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to have 4,000 calories," but it's 4,000 calories of the right food. Some people, can think, "Oh yeah, 4,000 calories. That's easy. A pizza and something." And don't get me wrong, I love a pizza, but in the week, I know I eat fairly strict for myself. I mean, not like a bodybuilder diet where everything's weighed out, and well, some bodybuilders. Mine's a bit more laid back, and obviously it's mainly getting the calories in, but the right calories. So high protein, a decent amount of carbs too, and obviously, like we all try and avoid high fats. So yeah, I don't track it anymore. It's hard. I mean, eating consistently, eating the right stuff is hard anyway. But when you're having to track it, and there's nights when I'm weighing stuff out, or say before competition, I've weighed stuff out. It could be my chicken, or it could be pasta, whatever, and then Mrs. or when I was living at home last year, my mum could be like, "Oh, can I just have a spoonful of your pasta?" And I'm like, "No, I've weighed it out." So it can get complicated, and you don't, unless you're sort of competitive at a competitive level, you don't really need to calorie intake. That's my personal view. People probably do disagree, but for me, I think as long as you know roughly you're getting the right stuff, and you obviously check the labels, you don't need to overcomplicate stuff. Just enjoy. As long as you enjoy training, it doesn't become a chore. Keep doing what you're doing. Number 4 is, who is your favourite strongman? Well, there's quite a few to be fair, but if I had to narrow it down to one, there's a couple actually. I can't just say one. There is a number 1 spot, but it's got 2 people on it. There's so many different strongmen, and for different reasons why they can be people's favourite athletes. You've got people like Mark Felix, who wasn't winning World's Strongest Man, but he's still competing now at 53. He was just like sort of a cult hero, just a legend of the sport. And then you've got people like Pudzianowski, obviously, who won the World's Strongest Man 6 times, more than anyone else. Shredded, absolute beast. And then there's people who've got brute strength like O.D. Wilson. The list goes on. I could ramble on about strongman for hours. So I'll not. So my favourite, number 2 of the number 1 spot, is Bill Kazmaier. Absolute legend. He's one of them guys that is so cool, and then it gets up to his event, he just switches. He's just an absolute beast, and that's something that sometimes I struggle with, is tapping into that mental aggression, and just looks like a man possessed before that set. It's something that my dad always told me about, is Bill Kazmaier, and he's just an absolute animal. I love watching stuff on YouTube about him. If you've not seen him, check him out. It's Bill Kazmaier. He's just such a good athlete, and there is a fun fact about him. He one of the competitions, the World Strongest Man competitions, I think it was his first, was going to be in England, and he couldn't afford to come over to England. And then in his local area where he lived, there was a competition down at a local pet store of who can eat the most goldfish. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure he ate hundreds and hundreds of goldfish. And he won that competition easily. And that got him the money to get him on that plane to come and compete. And I believe Bill Kazmaier was a 4-time winner of World's Strongest Man, but I'm not 100% on that. And then my second, my favourite of all time is Mr. Eddie Hall. For so many reasons. I mean, I love the fact that he doesn't care what anyone thinks about him. He set out, he's going to be the world's strongest man, or he'll die trying, and he's done it. And he said he would retire after, and everyone was like, no, he won't. Once he's won it once, he'll get a taste for it. And he's done it, he stuck to it. He said, he was honest and said he's lost a lot of time with his family, and he wants to make up for that. And obviously he did it, he retired, and now he's got his own TV programme, and Eddie Eats America, if you've not seen it. And then obviously he's got his training for the fight with Thor, so he's got a lot of stuff going on, but he just did the impossible. I mean, in this current era of competing, when a few years back, you've got Big Z, who is the strongest man to ever live, in my opinion, and in most people's opinions when it comes to strongman. Definitely one of the most strongest people to ever live, if not the strongest. Brian Shaw, 4-time World's Strongest Man winner, and still in the mix now. And obviously Hafthor Bjornsson, who was also rivaling him for that number 1 spot. Martin Lissis, who went on to win it a couple of years later. Martin Kiełowski. There's so many in that era where it was so hard to win, and he did it against all the odds. He was sort of the same kind of weight as Brian Shaw and Thor Bjornsson. And I mean, Eddie, when you look at him next time, you don't realise how big he actually is, because he looks quite small in height when you see him next time, but he's still, I think Eddie's around 6'3". So obviously an absolute monster of a man. But then your Brian Shaws and your Thor Bjornssons, they're like 6'7", something stupid like that. And whereas they can all be the same weight, but obviously when you're taller, your weight evens out. Whereas for him, Eddie being more compact than them, and he went up to 30.5 stone. He's got to go somewhere, and that's why he went to his stomach. And people, I know some people are not sort of educated or sort of into the sport, and they say, "Oh, he just looks fat, he's disgusting." But in order to win, that's what he had to do. He did everything it takes, and obviously even risked his health to do it. But he did it, and he's made changes now, and obviously he looks incredible at the moment. If you've not seen his Netflix documentary, you need to watch it. It's just called Eddie Hall, Strongman. It's incredible. He talks a lot about how he wants to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's now done that. He pulled a world record deadlift in front of Arnold. He also talked obviously about winning the world's strongest man, and a lot of stuff in that documentary he talks about, and he's now done. So it makes it more incredible that this was filmed in like 2014, I believe, and since then he then went on to in 2017 to go and win the world's strongest man, break world record deadlifts and so on. And it's brilliant to see someone with that drive and that ambition and that confident in your own ability to, I'm going to do this, I'm going to smash it, to then see him go on and do it. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, I could ramble on forever about Eddie. So they're my favourite two strongmans, Bill Kazmaier and Eddie Hall. Number 5, goals for next year. Well, like everyone, we don't know what's happening in this current climate with the world, COVID and what have you. A lot of stuff can change, so I mean, right now I'm working on little stuff to make my overall game better. Sort of trying to rep out on heavy weights and stuff like that, and I'm sort of building the package now where I'm not worrying about the future, because we don't know what's happening at the moment, and sort of in terms of competitions, we don't know what's happening. So I think right now is the perfect time to tweak little things to improve the overall package. I mean, myself, I just compete in bench press, drug-free bench press. So yeah, I'm sort of improving the little areas around that to make the bigger package better. So yeah, over time, stuff will hopefully become clearer. But at the moment, I'm not really looking too far ahead, because I'm sort of focusing on now. Because you can get caught up in that, looking too far in the future and getting caught up and stuff and getting distracted or getting frustrated at not hitting certain goals. And I think right now, just take every session as it comes and just enjoy it, and obviously just get stronger. That's the main thing. Number 6, how did I find it gaining weight when first getting into training? Hard. That's what it is. Obviously, when you first start training, it's hard getting into it, and you might go for a month and you want to look like someone off social media, you want to look like whoever, and you get frustrated when you're not seeing results straight away. Or you might go to the gym and have 3 months of making improvement after every session, but then you hit a stumbling block, and then you're like, oh, I've done so well these first 3 months, and then I've not made any progress for 6 months. That kind of stuff happens. We all hit brick walls, and obviously that's the training. But then when it comes to eating, and if that's what you want to do, is obviously gain weight, get stronger, it can be hard. I mean, when I first started training, I was probably only about 14 stone. And when I say start training, I mean start training properly, which was around just before 18, probably 18-ish. And I was probably around 13 stone, something like that. I'm 25 in a couple of days, so and I'm 22.5 stone now. But I had, you know, from 18 to 20, I was probably around between the 13 to 16 stone, and then from sort of 20 to 22, I was made that from 16 to 18 stone, and then from 23 up to now, I've sort of increased, and it is hard. I mean, I had times when, especially, I'd say the times when the food was on point as well as the training was when I hit around 20, and that's when I started weighing stuff out. Like I say, I got quite serious and obsessed with doing the weighing and stuff like that. And obviously, I used to use MyFitnessPal, which you get. It was an app on the iPhone. Now I'm pretty sure it's on Android too. And I used to get obsessed with counting my calories, and it could be a sense of, say, I've had 220 grams of protein in that day, and I'm looking and thinking, oh well, MyFitnessPal's give me, when I put all my information in, it's saying I should be eating 230 grams of protein. I did 220, but I was that obsessed that I've got to get to that 230, that it could be 11:30 at night, and I could be thinking, oh, I'll have a pint of milk, or oh, I'll have this, I'll have that. I got too obsessed with it. But like I said, at them times, I was going to bed, my stomach I looked at Homer Simpson, my stomach was massive, like just bloated, and it was hard. It was very hard to sort of balance everything, and mentally it was hard. But you sort of, once you get that consistency, you just do it. And when you're doing it consistently, you're training hard, your food's on point, what better motivation than once you've got them two and you're making progress, you're getting stronger, you're looking bigger, whatever, like that kind of stuff, it'll come. So if you keep eating obviously the right food, I would suggest downloading that MyFitnessPal if you are trying to hit a certain amount of calories. It's a really good app. You download it, you put in your information, your height, weight, your specific goals, even stupid stuff like what you do for a living, because it'll take into account, if you're sat in an office, you're not going to burn that many calories through a day. But if you do a job that's sort of hard labour, it'll take into account that you are going to use a lot of calories or a fair amount throughout your day anyway. So that'll sort of input into what your overall daily goal is. So yeah, I mean, it is hard, but it's just consistency. That's all I ever tell people. I mean, I'm just Ollie. I'm not nothing special. But I do get people ask me, how did you get to your size? How did you get that strong? And it's just consistency. And that's what, when I first started out, and say from 20 to 22, I was so secretive about how I trained. I wouldn't train with anyone else other than my dad, because I was like, I don't want to give away my workout, whereas my workout's just the same as many people's workouts. But for me, I was like, I don't want to give away my workout. Whereas now, I will, if someone wants a session with me, I mean, I can say in the last year, I've trained with loads of different people, even if it's just the odd session. But I don't mind training with people, because I know that Rome weren't built in a day. It's consistency, and I don't mean that in an arrogant way, but I will train with people for the fact that I know that if you are going to train and you're serious about it, you'll make improvements for this kind of training, but it doesn't happen overnight. It's years and years worth of graft to do it, to get to that. So yeah, like I say, download MyFitnessPal and see how you go on with that. But that would be the best thing I would say for gaining weight. It can be hard and it can be frustrating, but with consistency, it'll come. I guarantee you that. Just stay consistent. Number 7, Eddie Hafthor. So obviously they've got a boxing match coming up soon, which is crazy. I'd have to say Eddie just because he's my favourite. But looking at videos as well, Eddie looks a lot faster and a lot more powerful. I don't know if it's a mental game where Thor is putting these videos up and he doesn't look. I mean, it's easy for me to sit back and say, but yeah, I'd have to say Eddie just for the fact that I think that power, statically, is a beast, and I think anything can happen, especially that kind of weight. One punch can just end it. But yeah, I'd have to go for Eddie, to be fair. How many goals have Sheffield scored this season? Oh, this is obviously my brother, trying to be funny. Scored 2 so far this season, but it's a marathon, not sprint, so we'll see how we get on. Another stupid one from Danny, a mate from the gym, is how do they get them little boats into glass bottles? So I think they have. I don't know why you've asked me this, but little tweezer things, and they sort of create the boat. It's squashed up, and as they put it in, they then release this tweezer thing, and it opens up. Is how I think it's done, but I ain't no pro, so I don't know properly. My next competition, I'm not sure, because obviously we don't know what's happening. What got you into training? That was my dad. I'm not going to say his age just in case he watched it, but he has been training for probably 40 years at least, maybe 45. And he'd never pushed me into training, but someone like that can inspire you without being pushed, because you see results. You see, thinking when you grow up and you think your dad's sort of invincible, stuff like that, it's that sort of motivation that you need. And as well as that, I've got an old friend called Ollie. He got me into training as well, and sort of when I got into it at 18 and my dad was sort of suggesting stuff, I was lucky to have his advice, but I didn't want to listen to my dad, and I was like, I know what I'm doing and stuff like that. But when I started training with Ollie, same age as me, and he pushed me on to keep going, and I got to a stage where I was like, I've been training 3 months, I ain't seen any progress, and he was like saying, just stick at it. And so I've got 2 people to thank for where I am today in terms of training. That's my dad and obviously my old friend Ollie. Let's have a look. Does your clothing company have a website? It doesn't at the moment, but there will be one coming next year. Whereabouts are you located in the UK? So I'm from a place called Chesterfield. It's a small town. When I go abroad, if people ask me where I'm from, I say Sheffield, because that's the closest, biggest thing to us, really. So instead of trying to get into rigmarole of saying, oh, it's Chesterfield, it's this, or what, and so on, yeah. So it's a place called Chesterfield, and it's near Sheffield. If you don't know where Sheffield is, I can't really help you on that one. I'm just from the UK. So other hobbies, I'm quite a boring person, I always say. It sounds pretty boring. So obviously I do my job, 37 hours a week. Training takes up, sometimes a session's just 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Training's long, so when I come back, it's very boring. You get home, you have your tea, you get showered, etc. Just to get ready to do it all again. That's where consistency comes into it. And I'm not saying that that's the right way. It depends on how much you want it and how much you're into your sort of training, but it is quite a boring sort of lifestyle. But I like going on walks. I mean, where I live is, you're quite close to some good nature spots, and it's nice to go up into Peak District, go for a walk with my missus, and so sort of socialising with family, and then eventually, when I can again, go to the football with my brother, Sheffield United. If you're interested, probably not. And I'll just wrap it up. I've got a few more, but I don't know how long. I don't want to bore you too long because it's been going on for ages. This favourite muscle group to train: chest. Cannot beat it for me. It's the one thing I just love. Chest. It's my favourite exercise. It's sort of, everyone's different. A lot of people say legs, whatever. But yeah, for me, it's just chest. I just love it. You know, obviously when you're using your chest. Check it's still recording. When you're using your chest, you use a lot of other muscle groups as well. Obviously, you can sort of use your back when you're obviously pressing from the bottom of the lift. Use your triceps to lock out. Your shoulders obviously play a part in it as well, and obviously your chest. It's an all-rounder to train. Yeah, it's my favourite. So, thanks for watching. I know it's been a long one, but I appreciate all your questions. I hope you're satisfied with the answers. So yeah, I'll leave you with a couple of videos from training today. I'm gutted because I pressed 140 for 8 today, followed by 150 for 5, easy 5. And then I thought, just to warm down on bench, I'll stick 100 on and just rep out. I got 23 reps on the bench press on 100 kg. And it was one of them where I took it off the rack and then it felt like 20 kg. It just felt easy. I'm so gutted I didn't record it, but next week, there's always next week to do it again or beat it and aim for 25. So yeah, thanks for watching. Just take care, stay safe, stay strong. Big Bear out.